you're shopping in Singapore, New York, or Dubai, you can use your Indian debit card. You can use your Indian debit card for transactions abroad, that is for international transactions, and your payment goes through, provided you have enabled your international transactions in your debit card. So why? But you will be wondering, if you are making a transaction for 1,000 Singapore dollars in Singapore for a transaction for a purchase you made, but the bank will charge a much higher amount than the 1,000 when you see the charges in terms of Indian rupees. What is the reason for this? So here let me explain this concept in this module. See, for example, Mr. R is going to Singapore. He is doing a transaction worth for a purchase 1,000 Singapore dollars. Now he can use the transaction because he has enabled the international transactions in his debit card. Then when he'll see the bank statement, much higher amount is deducted. So foreign currency conversion charges will be there because he's making, the card has to make the payment in US Singapore dollars, but the card is in Indian rupees. So the conversion charges, Indian rupees, they have to use for buying 100 Singapore dollars. Conversion will be there. Second is foreign exchange markup charges. That is another charge, that RBI is not giving any uniform rate for foreign exchange markup charge or forex markup charge. That is, if it's slight variation will be there. See, for example, if it is 1,000 rupees, Dubai, a transaction is made for 1,000 dirhams. So when we convert it into Indian currency, it is 23,000. If the forex markup charges is 3%, the amount will come to 690. So again, one more GST will be there on this. So 23,690 GST, the regular banking charges GST at 18% will be applicable. So all these charges will come for the international transactions using your debit card. That is why the amount debited from your bank account is much higher than you expected. Now, what are the RBI says rules regarding this? RBI has introduced this facility for using your debit card for international transactions for resident Indians for many years. But June 14, 2005, they had come up with certain restrictions. That is, they can use for allowed transactions, legal transactions, ATM withdrawal up to the permitted limit. But prohibited transactions, they cannot use this card. So they can use that. But before leaving India, you have to check this. First is your debit card is enabled for international transactions. Second is you have to check your daily limit. What is your ATM withdrawal? What is your spending limit? Then you have to see that you have to enable the bank transactions either through SMS or email, so that you will get the immediate alert when you are using this card. Then the forex charges, conversion charges, forex markup charges, the GST applicable, all this you have to check before using your card internationally. Otherwise, you will be surprised by why banks are charging more and more than what you expected. So whenever you are using your card for international transaction, use it wisely. Find out the bank charges before leaving the country. Enable the international transactions with your debit card. But RBI is giving a clear instruction. New card holders, whether it is debit card or credit card, they can use for domestic transactions than international transactions. And remember, only when you enable for international transaction, then only you will be able to use in a foreign country. So use your card wisely. I'll be alert about the bank charges and check the alerts from the bank. Any unauthorized transaction, immediately block the card.